by our customers and best grilling food. This is the 10 count of the 6-ounce prime pork ribeye steaks. These have sold out many times. We have them in stock today. Auto deliveries available every 90 days for 1 year. But our friend Ray Rastelli is bringing us the showcase today, because this is what you want in the center of the plate. Ray Rastelli is the owner and the hometown butcher that we all love. Ray, thank you for joining In the Kitchen with Mary this Saturday.
Oh, Mary, I love being with you today, and I brought one of my favorite pork item. It's that pork prime rib steak.
So good.
And everyone, you know, my favorite steak is a beef ribeye steak. Well, it goes to think your best pork steak is going to be the same steak on the pork. So we start with a prime rib of pork. That's what this is. This is a prime rib of pork. We then cut these beautiful 6-ounce steaks. Now, I call them steaks, Mary, because I just think they're too good to be called pork chops. And they are just incredible. And you can see in front of me, Mary, this is what, I'm a butcher, so I just like to have fun with food. I know how to cut meat, but this makes me look like I'm a really good cook because it's so simple. What I did here, Mary, I just took one of these steaks and I cut it into cubes, and I've got beautiful kebabs.
Ooh.
Here, I've just cooked it like a steak. If you want to do it just like a breaded pork chop, you can do that too. But I will tell you, you only want to cook these to 145 degrees. That's all you need to cook this to. Here, I made thin strips for fajitas, and I have a Asian stir fry. My favorite here, of course, is that pork fried steak where all I did was pound it out, breaded, floured it, and what I've got is something really, really special. Now, look at the size of that. Now, that's one, right?
Gosh.
And then, of course, I always like stuffing it because they're nice and thick. And here's what happens. You just open it up like that with your knife. You stuff it like I did here. We did some spinach, some cranberries, and some sun-dried tomatoes, and just gives it really simple, elegant. But, Mary, here's the key with this pork. It's from the Pennsylvania Dutch country, the Amish country. We know where our pork comes from. This is what I love most about it. I don't need a knife when I eat this pork. I'm just going to use a fork. Look at this, right through every single piece of pork. As thick as that is, all I'm doing is going right through it with a fork. Think about it. Look how thick this is. And I'm going right through this with a fork each and every time. Look at that. That's amazing when you think about pork, because most of us think about pork. We think about our grandmother's pork, which was kind of pretty dry and pretty cardboardy. Right?
Truth. He speaks nothing but truth. You know what, too? I have had so many folks, probably this particular food item at QVC is the one that folks have come back to my Facebook page the most and said, you guys were not kidding. It is soft. It's tender. It's easy to cook. It's so flavorful, but it's so versatile. I mean, you just saw on Ray's table, kebabs. My mouth is already watering. You saw a pork, which I refer to as like a pork schnitzel. You saw a stuffed pork, but this is prime. So when you think about the different cuts of meat, this one is prime, and this one is one that is always gone here at QVC. It's a best seller. I've seen it sell out many times. It's marbled, it's hand trimmed. You're not throwing anything away. Everything on Ray's board right now is food for you and your family, and it's 4 easy payments of $14 and change. Now, Ray, I saw that this is available on auto delivery today, every 90 days for 1 year. So each shipment is free. What does it look like when we get it home?
So when it comes to you, they're going to be individually vacuum packaged. And this is really important. But that individual package means we have locked in all the flavor and kept out all the bacteria, Mary. So food safety is so critical. So when we cut this, we then put it in this package. It's a vacuum seal. And then, of course, we are blast freezing it. When we blast freeze this product, we lock in all of that freshness. And that's really what keeps it. But this will hold up in your freezer, keep in your freezer for up to 12 months. Now, it won't last that long, because once you try one and you do it as a pork steak or as a pork chop, your mind is going to go wild, like mine has, with the things you can do. One of my favorites that I didn't do here today is my pork parmesan. So if you love doing a veal parmesan or a chicken parmesan, if you do it with this pork, I promise you 2 things. Number 1, it'll be more tender. And number 2, it'll be more tasty. And it's really simple and easy.
You said pork parmesan, and I almost had to lean a little bit. Like I had to, woo, like it sounds amazing. Here's the thing too. It's super easy to make. We've given you lots of dish ideas, but Ray, you're our hometown butcher, but you're also a phenomenal cook. How do you recommend, when we get it home, if we're trying this for the first time, how do you recommend that we make it first time right out of the gate?
So first time out of gate, the reason I call it a pork ribeye steak is because it's a ribeye and it's a steak first.
Okay.
It's so incredibly tasty that you can just take it out, Mary, and grill it, or you can put it in your skillet, or you can put it under your broiler. So treat it just like you would a steak. Pull it out of the freezer, let it thaw out overnight. And remember, in this packaging, if you really get stuck and you don't have time to thaw it out, just stick this under cold water for about 10 minutes. Let the water run over top of it, and in 10 minutes, it will become soft, just like this, and you'll be able to then cook this. But I like it as a steak first. Once you try it as a steak, your imagination is going to go wild at that point because you're going to think of all the things that I thought of here, and it makes you really look like you're a really wonderful cook.
And the flavor, I
Yeah.
cannot say it enough. The flavor of this pork is so good. It's so juicy. It's so tender. And we grew up, like Ray said, with the pork that was a little bit dry. Here you're getting 10 6-ounce prime pork ribeye steaks that are juicy, tender, flavorful, and versatile for $14 and change. Now, I want to brag on them a little bit. It always makes them blush a little bit. But this is, time and time again, a Customer Choice Food Award winner here at QVC. But what I also know, and that's voted on by folks who have shopped here at QVC only. But what I know too is they are a best seller here at QVC and outside of QVC. Ray, is it still true? Can we only get this at QVC?
This is the only place we do this. This is
Wow.
really limited product, Mary, because remember, it comes from the Pennsylvania Dutch country. So this isn't product we pulled from all over the world. Very specific region. And that region is really critical at raising some of the greatest pork. And that's why we go there. I always say to you and the rest of the hosts around, we have to know where our food is coming from. If we feel like we know where our food is coming from, we know who the butcher is that's cutting it, we know how it's packed and how it's taken care of, you can feel good about bringing it home and putting it in your freezer and feeding it to your family. You know the simple saying we have around here, if we wouldn't give it to our mom, well, we wouldn't give it to our guests. It's really that simple. And for 45 years, we've lived with it.
Well, and we count on it from you, so thank you from all of us to you. And thank you for being in the show today, my friend. Always a joy to see you. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you so much.
You know what? Oh, shop these ribeyes. You will not be sorry. I love their pork. It's so good. You know what? Please continue to place your order. Enjoy that auto delivery every 90 days for 1 year. Just a little heads up.